G'day folks. Well, let's do a part 2 on the tips that I'm going to give out for a rear mount turbo. We're going to talk about the turbo sort of setup at the back and the charge pipe and a few other little bits and pieces. So kick back and let's go and have a bit of a look at it and talk about it. Now, I want to quickly mention there was a bloke who commented on my turbo. He wanted to have a quick look at how I mounted it. Well, mate, I did say I did mount it off the flange, but I told a lie, and well, I didn't know. I'd actually forgotten. It's been that long since I've done it. Oh, hang on, I'm nearly there. Oh, it's tricky. Well, that's the flange, guys. It's a T6 3-inch pipe. Don't look at the welds, mate. Please, don't be too hard on me. They're shocking welds, but they work. You can't see it, thank goodness, under there, except for when I get the light on it and show everyone on YouTube. That's just a hose clamp, a muffler clamp, and just a bit of a bracket, and I have a bit of threaded rod that goes up into the boot. It's pretty simple. And I've got a huge washer. It's a massive, it's almost a bit of plate I put up on top so it won't pull through. And that's been like that for, I don't know, 2.5 years I suppose, a couple of years. It's been fine. I do have it mounted reasonably well there as well. That's an original hanger. So yeah, I've had no issues with it really. Nothing at all. And I do have another mount off on the tailpipe. It does move a little bit and creak, but that's just for a little bit for expansion, but it's been fine. Look, if you was going to run it on rough roads or whatever, I've hit some pretty hard potholes in my time when I did have it on the street, still sitting there. But you can always beef things up, guys. You don't have to follow me to the T. It's not what it's about. It's just giving you ideas and help you along your way. Alright, now my first thing is, let's have a talk about that wastegate. I prefer an external gate. I'm sort of not a big fan of internal gates. I think it just sort of, to be honest, when you look, I've seen a lot of them actually, and they're great in a standard application, they're fine. But I think when you start designing your own system, I think keep it simple and just get an external gate, but get a good quality one. Don't get a little cheap eBay job. That's a Turbo Smart Comp Gate 40, I think. Yeah, 40mm. And that controls the boost without a problem. But you can see how I've mounted it right on that bend, so she gets the full flow going into it, so it can control boost at low levels. And that's what you want. I wouldn't do a 90-degree off. You're not getting the flow that it needs to go through the wastegate at low boost levels. You really want to do a similar design on what I've done and grafted in there like that, and I've ported the inside and cleaned it all up with a file and got it flowing nice, so it works really well in that situation and I've had no issue. Now I want to talk about the I don't know, it's a tough one, guys. I don't know how, look, each car's different, but that's how I've mounted mine. It's like on a 45-degree. That was the best bit of give and take. It made it easy to for the exhaust system to go into from the diff. There wasn't too many bends and angles, and then it made the tailpipe very easy for me to come out on the corner, and it wasn't too hard to hook the charge up. It sort of worked out really well in the finish, mounting it like that, and I've cut the boot out and mounted it as high as I can. I can't really go any higher without sort of interfering with the floor of the boot. So it's up to you guys how low or how high you mount it, but get it as high as you can, because if you're going to be driving it on the street, you really want it as high as you can for practicality. Now for intake, I've seen a lot of guys, a lot of setups with the air cleaner underneath, and I had mine like that when I first had the other turbo on it, and it would block up within a week or two. It wasn't a really good design. You don't realise how much road grime and crap you get driving it every day like that. You would have to be servicing it every couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks minimum, to keep the flow up. So what I ended up coming up with, a little plan, I drilled some holes in the floor of the trunk and some flexible hose, 4-inch hose, I think, or maybe even be 5-inch. No, it's 4-inch. And put a nice little filter in the boot. I think that's the way to go. That's a bit of a good advice. I've only ever cleaned this once, you know, and that was underneath a little bit of crap that came up. It, like I said, come up for the road in under there. It just seems to get a bit dirty there, but over here, on top and around, no. It stays clean as anything. You want to be able to service it easily. All I did was some plumbing fittings, sewer line, an expansion sort of fitting there like that, socket type, and boom, easy. Easy to service, easy to clean, no trouble. I don't have to worry about rain, water, anything, because it's all kept out of harm's way. So I think that's a really important tip for anyone rear mounting, is to try and get their air cleaner up out of the way, so you don't have any issues. Charge pipe, I like the aluminum because it has a intercooling effect. We all know what aluminum's like as a heat conductor. It pulls heat, it attracts heat. When you heat it up, it'll spread. It's just fantastic as a intercooler pipe. You've got, what, 12, maybe 15 feet of pipe running through there. It's getting the cold air in under the car, and it's fantastic. So that's the way I did that there, snaked it around the outside, gave me some more room for my not intercoolers, what do you call them? Help me out, guys, I'm having a memory blank. Transmission coolers, yes. So it gave me more room there. So, and I used all the silicon joiners, allows for a bit of flexibility. I've had no issues with it at all. It's easy to pull apart and service, and it wasn't that expensive either. You know, if I blow a hose, it's a quick fix. So it's fantastic. I wouldn't be doing it in exhaust tube or anything like that. Keep it aluminum. It's light, and it's has a great intercooler effect. Now the oil, now I haven't mentioned this, you know. The oil from the turbo running back to the engine, I think it's a great benefit if you can put, there's another little tip, guys, I'm throwing out there, an oil cooler on it. That's an actual transmission cooler that I've just plumbed in, and it just takes off some of the heat returning back to the engine. So it just gives it a bit of a chance to cool it off by the time you send it back into the motor. And I think that's a great little tip there to do that, because we all know that turbos are hot and the oil going through the turbo heats up. So if we can take a little bit of heat out of it and send it back to the engine, not quite as hot as it, or not as hot as it came out from the turbo, that's a win. Now, the reference line off the wastegate, I run it through the manifold. Now, a lot of front mount people, I shouldn't say that really, we're no different, we're all the same, we're just putting them in a different spot, turbos. So I'll just clear that up. I love you guys that are mounting them up the front. There's nothing wrong with it. A lot of people mount them off the turbos, off the spout of the turbo, or whatever you call it, off the charge side, just near where it hooks into the plumbing. I've seen little fittings and all that sort of jazz. Well, I'll tell you now. Now I've learnt this, you know, and look, this is really beneficial for a rear mount. I had mounted it down here before the carby, and it works, there's nothing wrong with it. But if you want really quick response from a turbo, you have to put your reference line from the wastegate and mount it in the manifold, right? If you've got a fuel injection set up, mount it on the inlet side of the manifold, you know, downstream from your butterflies, and what it does, it enables the engine or the turbo to build boost very quickly without detecting a hint of boost and start to open. So what it does, you've got the last port of call is the manifold. As soon as you start building boost in there, you're making power, right? And it'll reference from that last port of call just before it goes into the heads. And what it enables you to do for that turbo to spool very quickly, to keep it closed, keep the wastegate closed, and the turbo will just react like that, and it's incredible. The difference I noticed from mounting it from here to there it's unbelievable. And if I'd have mounted it off the turbo, oh geez, I tell you what, I reckon it'd be a real slug of a thing. And to be honest, I don't know, but I reckon that could be a lot of people's problems. I'm not saying it is, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is. But that's my little tip anyway, guys, on that little trick. Now, intercooler, do you want to run an intercooler or don't? I don't know. Look, I've got one in there. Yes, it helps because, you know, you've got all that extra pipe doing its job as well, plus the intercooler. Goodness me. You don't have to run one. Look, I reckon I could get away with not running one on the low boost that I'm running. It'd be that efficient, the intercooler piping, and you know, you're not getting that quite as hot as air coming out of the turbo. So it's up to you guys if you want to run one or not. I have. To be honest, I don't know if it makes any difference performance-wise because I've never run one without one. All I know is I've got one in there and it works fine. So don't be afraid thinking putting an intercooler in, is it going to make the thing laggy? No. As far as I'm concerned, this thing here has got incredible response, and I bloody love it. Alright, well that's that of the turbo charge pipe side of things. Let me know if you want to do a video. I've done a video on the fuel system, but if you guys want to do one, I will do another video on it. There's probably a few other little bits and pieces I've probably left out and I'll remember once the video's turned off, but if you want me to, I'll put a comment there, and if you give me a heap of likes on it, I'll do a video on that and a few other things that come to my attention. Now, quick little update, just a quick one. I've pulled all the seats carpet out of the thing, and I'm thinking about colours, or I'm thinking about actually painting the whole inside of the floor and up the back once I put the cage in the mandarin. The colour of the car is called mandarin orange. Mandarin red. Where did I get orange from? It's not actually showing on the camera. The light is actually playing up with it a little bit. It looks lighter than what it is. But I'll just angle up there if you can see it a little bit. What are your thoughts on that, guys? If I paint all the floor, I'll sand it all up, clean it all up, and do it in the mandarin, and the roll cage will be black. What do you reckon, guys? And I'll paint up between the two doors there. Oh, I'm excited. All right, that's just a little tip. So give me a bit of feedback on that one, guys. What do you reckon? I reckon it's going to look all right, but I'm interested to hear what you guys think. All right, well that's my little little vid for now, and I'll pop one up. I'm starting work tomorrow, so I'll see how I go through the week, and I'll put another one up. All right, guys. Well, I'll catch you later.